Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Be talking about such a drastic drop in cases. What do you attribute it to? I know there's some debate over that. Is this the vaccine? Is this seasonality? Is this less testing? Why are we seeing this drop?
First of all, I think this drop is real, meaning it's not just an artifact of testing. Infections are clearly down a good 50, 60%. Hospitalizations are down. Death numbers haven't moved that much yet, but I expect them to in the next couple of weeks. And that, of course, is going to be good news.
Dr. Shah right there, yes. At all. It's not. But I think you've exposed enough people to it. You've given people the vaccine to the tune of about, 30 million Americans, give or take, as far as some getting their second dose, maybe closer, maybe closer to 50 if you add in the first dose, and some that have gotten the first and second. So you're in a good position here, and I think that's good for all of us that we're in that position. How long will it last? I don't know. Will there be another run? I don't know. What I do know is,
I think some of it is coming off of the highs from the holidays. Second is I think there's some evidence that people are being a bit more assiduous about mask wearing and social distancing. And then, I do think in the next couple of weeks, the effects of the vaccinations are going to start having an impact. I don't know that we're quite there yet in terms of seeing the benefits of vaccines on national infection numbers yet.
Well, it depends on where you are. Absolutely. But then you've got something else to add into all of this over the coming days and weeks, which is the fact that nobody, pretty much from Texas through the east, can go anywhere.
This winter storm that caused all of this just days ago has moved off to the east, but here in Texas, there is another storm on the way, and the temperatures here are not expected to get above freezing until later this week.
It's insane. So that'll play an issue, and how much of an issue, because it's not just the South and the Southeast and parts of the East Coast that will feel this when it comes to vaccinations. The reality is there's going to be issues across the board getting vaccinations out of certain places into other places. The end of the day, though, things are down. That's good. That is a victory across the board. It's what we want so we can get back to normal. Normal includes going back to school, which is huge.
Everybody from teachers to parents, obviously to students, we all want schools open and then critically to stay open. None of this, let's start it and close it, start it and close it. That doesn't help anybody. Mitigation is hard to do. It's easy to say it. It's hard to do. This is too complicated. And it's really hard to make sure adequate ventilation is in place and testing is in place. It's just difficult. It requires resources and time. It's why I believe that maybe the quickest way actually to keeping schools open, or opening schools and keeping them open, perhaps it's just vaccination of adult staff and educators up front so we can at least protect those who might be at highest risk.
Yeah, that sounds great, except for the fact we've got some issues. Some of the states who are run by unions, by that I mean the teachers' unions are strong, they want to be in the front of the line, but they're not ready to go back to school yet. So I got to be honest with you, I don't think you should get anything if you're not willing to go back to work. Other states, you look around, you got some people still trying to cure death. You got some people still out there trying to make it so it is zero, not just negligible, but zero. We don't do this for the flu. And let's remember, the flu kills more kids than this thing does. We don't stop down. We don't. Well, the flu's been, the reason the flu hasn't been big this year is pretty simple. Kids are they transmit the flu faster than anything else. They're not in school. They're not around each other. Plus, we're not going to the same places we used to. We're still not where we need to be. Got a ways to go. I'm still thinking May we'll start to really feel a difference. Some states are feeling it now. And by June, July, it'll be very interesting. 85% of normality, it will be there. People will be going out in some states where they don't have to wear a mask anymore. It can be life as normal. They may have a few issues here or there. Other states will be emerging still because of the way that they've handled things. It may take them a lot longer to make that climb, but we're getting there. The goal is to get kids back in school, especially by the start of next year. I expect my son to go back after Easter, potentially. So my son Jack was out here this weekend. I expect him to go back. The reality is, though, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't. It's next year that has to happen. For us to have any normal way of life, that has to happen. Kids in school doing what they're supposed to be doing, learning, not only just learning from the books and the teachers, but around each other. That frees up opportunities for people to get back to work. Gives a certain sense of us getting back to a normal way of life. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. It is not a shocker. We all saw it coming. It's over. It's done with. And there you go. Trump wins. Trump wins.
This unprecedented effort is not about Democrats opposing political violence. It is about Democrats trying to disqualify their political opposition. It is constitutional cancel culture. History will record this shameful effort as a deliberate attempt by the Democrat Party to smear, censor, and cancel not just President Trump, but the 75 million Americans who voted for him.
Yeah, that's his attorney. Woo! Van der Veen. Yeah, I don't, was anybody shocked? We all knew where this was going, right? Like, does anybody care? You saw where this was going. You knew this was going there. People are still wondering, are you guys going to get back out there and start reopening stuff? Are you going to get checks out to people the way that you promised? Are you going to start doing things the way that you said you were going to do? Because at this moment in time, don't see that happening. And people are frustrated. They're still talking about Trump. Well, there was things that we had to do, Chad. We have to get into the situation where we get past this. I understand. I think there's a time and a place for it. I don't think this was the time. The place, yes. The time, no. Think you could have done it out a few months. I know that he doesn't want it hanging over his first 100 days, but there it was. I think most Republicans feel the same way Mitch McConnell does. And by that, I mean the people that work there, the people that worked around the president, the people that know the president, not who think they know the president because they see him on Twitter or did see him on Twitter and they see him on television and they see him, but the people who work behind the scenes with him kind of feel this way.
President Trump is still liable for everything he did while he was in office as an ordinary citizen. Unless the statute of limitations is run, still liable for everything he did while he was in office. Didn't get away with anything yet. We have a criminal justice system in this country. We have civil litigation. And former presidents are not immune from being accountable by either one.
Translation, yeah, it could have been done in a different way. Could have been done, wasn't done. It's over. It's done with. That's about all I'm going to talk about it. Just touch on it a little bit. Outside of that, I don't think many people are sitting there going, what happened? What took place? You knew where this was going to end. It's over. Now, will there be other things down the pipe for Trump potentially?
This is not over with the impeachment. There is an FBI investigation happening. Justice is going to weigh in. And if you take a look at Donald Trump's statement today, you'll notice there's not one word of remorse or regret. And a former Justice Department source said to me, DOJ, Department of Justice, doesn't look kindly upon that. This may just be the beginning.
But it's not going to be. And we're all going to move on because we got other things going on. Kids aren't in school. The economy is taking it in the shorts. People are struggling to pay their bills. And right now, in parts of the country, it is a little cold. There are other things. This is important to the politics of what takes place in D.C., to the average person on Main Street, to the average person across this country, whether it be the Southwest, the Midwest, the Northeast, the North, it doesn't matter. They're trying to get through each day, wondering how they're going to take care of their kids, put food on the table, when their business is going to reopen in full. Those are things that they're worried about. That's theater for the people in D.C. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show for Twitter. Tweet at us. Hope you had a good, enjoyable, restful weekend. I'm not going to lie. I took some good naps. I'm going to give you guys a rundown of a movie I watched that is my dark horse of winning nothing, but amazing. It's incredible. It is so awesome. 2 words, Nicolas Cage. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Nicolas Cage. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text. Tell me what's going on. Tell me what you're looking forward to this week. Is it stimulus? Is it, I'm asking people, like, what's the thing that you're looking at where you're thinking, okay, now it's time for you guys to get to work. You've got 100 days. Try to prove yourself. That is the goal, I always hear, with the president. Your first 100 days is make or break. Well, now's your chance. And tonight, he's going to have his town hall. So we'll see how that plays itself out. What does that look like? Very focused on COVID. Is he going to be open, reach across the aisle, or is this going to be a scenario where he says, we're going to have to go it alone? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. All right. So my dogs, who drive me crazy, but I love them. You guys know I don't feed them. I feed them pretty good food. I mean, I do. But just know this. The food that I feed them is dead dog food, as they call it. It's supposed to be on the shelf for a while. So it doesn't have any nutrients. It's not living. So what do you get? You get itching, scratching, lack of energy, digestive issues, because even though you think you're doing everything you can, the reality is, at the end of the day, that stuff is meant to sit on a shelf. Rough Greens Canine VitaSmart, powdered nutritional supplement, easy to put your dogs back into the food and life they should be living because it gives them all the essential things your diet for them is lacking. All natural product, 100%. FDA registered facility. Convenient, tasty, powdered. Most dogs love it. Mine do. Vitamins, minerals, digestive enzymes, powerful strains of probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, and it's vegan. So if that's what you're looking for to take your dog's health to the next level, this is it. My dog Doodle loves it. It's changed his life. Now, you can try Rough Greens before you can buy it. Cover shipping, $8.95. Get a free bag of Rough Greens today. Visit ruffgreens.com/Chad or call 833-MY-DOG-77. That's 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens, they make any pet food better. Ruffgreens.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to Chad. No, not the country. The institution. The Chad Benson Show.
Mardi Gras is a time for the city to come together and just neighbors to talk to neighbors and having fun. And this year it's just people are staying indoors, not really going to parties or hanging out.
No, Mardi Gras is going to be very interesting today. Of course, Fat Tuesday. It's fat every day for you guys. All right, so what is Fat Tuesday? It's simple. Mardi Gras Fat Tuesday. First of the events of the carnival celebration beginning on or after the Christian feast of the Epiphany, Three Kings Day, culminating on the day before Ash Wednesday, which is known as Shrove Tuesday. Mardi Gras is French for Fat Tuesday, reflecting the practice of the last night of eating rich, fatty foods before the ritual of Lenten sacrifices and fasting of the Lenten season. So, you're going to eat, drink, and be merry. Today's the day to do it. Then you're going to give up something tomorrow. Mardi Gras is definitely different this year. Normally people go there and they get drunk and they get hammered and they wander around and they throw those things. And now it's a little bit different. It's going to be more of a hanging out, people wandering down the streets. But the houses will be decorated instead of floats. And yes, you can still
throw things.
There you go.
That's actually a very socially distant activity.
There you go. So you can throw stuff. You know what that means.
There's like a porch culture. We have, a lot of people have a stoop or a balcony. And it's a way that we can like decorate and go all out and direct our creative energy and then like wave at everybody from a distance.
So there you go. So if you're going to Mardi Gras, have fun. Don't get crazy. Will there be any kind of, will there be like a Mardi Gras spike? I don't know. Get over it. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Shows, your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. So tonight, Biden going to have a little town hall, which will be good. I've always thought town halls are way better than debates are stupid. Let's argue over crap that nobody cares about, and so you guys get your minute or two in. Sit down with real people, have a real conversation. Let them ask you questions. It is a much better setting.
Milwaukee's Pabst Theater hasn't seen a live event since last March when the pandemic closed it. It's reopening for President Biden, who's holding a live CNN town hall where he'll take questions from Republicans, Democrats, and independent voters on his COVID and economic relief plans. The goal? Put more pressure on congressional Republicans to support bills that he may be able to pass without them.
Which will be tough, and I'll tell you why. Perfect example with this whole thing that took place. And that they're, in so many ways, arguably united beyond belief. Case in point, you got a guy, Adam Kinzinger, who's been a staunch voting. Go look at his voting record, but go look at the way he talked about Trump. He has not been a huge fan of Trump. His family's disowned him. It begins, this letter that the New York Times has, "Oh my, what a disappointment you are to us and to God." I'm like, wait, what? We were once so proud of your accomplishments. You go against your Christian principles, and you've joined the devil's army, Democrats and the fake news. You should be proud that you've lost the respect of Lou Dobbs, Tucker Carlson, Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, Greg Kelly, etc., including the most important in their book, Mark Levin and Rush Limbaugh. They're embarrassed to have the Kinzinger, that you have the Kinzinger name. What a bunch of nut jobs. My God. So, tough. You have the Republican Party is going to fight for everything, and the ones they feel go against it, they're going to come after. That is insane. Could you imagine that? It sounds like something my mom would do. Dear Chad, you suck. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text, Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Yeah, we're racing, and whenever it stops raining, I race the McDonald's car. Huh? I race in the McDonald's car. For real? Yeah, number 42. You can run it as credit. Right. Oh, 6 of everything. We're feeding the whole crew. Yes, hot fudge. That's fine.
That is Ross Chastain. He was in the Daytona 500 yesterday, and it was raining really bad. And so there was a wait. They realized it wasn't going to wait up. Hey, this thing's not letting up anytime soon. He said, screw it, I'm hungry. You guys hungry? I'm going to run to McDonald's. He hopped in his car in the middle of the race because it was stopped down. And he took off, went over to McDonald's, got everybody some snacks, came back. There you go. Daytona 500. Daytona 500, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Isn't it weird? I've always thought this is weird. That's the Super Bowl of NASCAR. And like that is the Super Bowl of NASCAR. And it starts the season off. Let's think about that. Think about if we started the Super Bowl and just played backwards. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Tonight, Biden, the President of the United States, still, at least until March 4th, according to some out there, but they're nuts, so we're going to just say he's going to be president. He's going to sit down with Wisconsin voters, have a chat, talk about things that matter, hopefully get some serious questions. I do hope he gets some serious questions, some real questions. And I'm sure if somebody asked him a rude question, that person will be evil. When Trump was up there and somebody was rude to him, that person was a hero. Let's not forget that. They treat them so much differently. But I don't mind Biden. I don't think he's an evil man. Neither do some of, yes, Trump voters.
Caroline Quinlan didn't vote for Joe Biden.
I voted for Trump.
But she's pulling for his success.
I think he's just a very nice man. I think he's very good. One of the last politicians I think can go across the aisle and meet with people. And I think that's something, it's a big plus.
When we first met Quinlan in the heat of the campaign last fall, she was torn.
I get it why people don't like Trump, but at the same time, he has done a few things that I thought were important.
But said she ultimately decided Trump would do a better job fixing the economy.
Yeah, I think a lot of people felt that way. I think a lot of people feel like it was like one of those things where if you could design somebody who had you want a fighter like Trump for a lot of different things. If you could design a robot politician where we're going to take a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Trump, the fighter, the way that he was able to move people, good or bad, but caused an emotion was some of it. The way that Obama can cause an emotion, good. The way that people, the way that he gets out there and he can move a crowd and he can politic was good. Throw a little bit of Reagan, right? A little bit of that in there. I don't know the old ones. So I know yesterday was President's Day. Kind of like Nixon, Kennedy. That's about it. From there on up. So but you would look and say, oh, wow, there's a robot. And they all got a little sprinkle of this, a little sprinkle of that, and away they go. Biden's an interesting character. He is. He's trying to do something that I don't know if I think the average Republican is like, we'll just get on with it, see what he does. I think there's a lot of people out there who are still so in the camp for Trump that they're not letting that go. And no matter what Biden does, no matter if he jumpstarts this economy, that it's just amazing. No matter if he could fix everything, they still wouldn't give him a chance. They still wouldn't give him a chance. And I think that sucks because those same people were screaming, yelling, why didn't you give Trump a chance? Because we don't do that anymore. We're not interested in that.
Natasha Lose is a small business owner who supported Biden but senses a new air of calm.
You're welcome, hon.
So you can really tell that there's more civility now than there was last year.
Without a doubt, Jeff. I feel like that has already started to come back, even just as it pertains to masks. As a business owner, I come to work every day wanting to share joy and happiness.
You sell toys.
I sell toys. And I was not interested in being a part of any kind of political anything in my store. That's just one thing we don't try to do here.
Yeah. And one big reason is, and people don't want to say it, the fact is Trump's not tweeting. And without him tweeting, there isn't the fight. There isn't the argument that always seems to be out there where you're trying to defend him or you're attacking him. So that brings down the level of calm when you come into a situation where you're not talking about, did you see what he tweeted overnight? Did you hear what the media said about him? Did you see what so-and-so said about Trump? Did you see what Trump said about so-and-so? It slowly but surely goes away. I don't like the fact that he was taken off Twitter. I thought it sucked. I did. I absolutely did. I believe in free speech. But if you're asking me, are things calmer? Of course they are. Of course they are. 100%. You know that as well as I. Does it mean it's right? No, I don't think it was right. But it's their business.
In the end, Biden won Wisconsin by less than 1 point. With most signs of the election long gone, it's a new season, and many voters here say a fresh start from the acrimony of the Trump era.
Just the tone down of the rhetoric, the not having to be glued to the TV or social media to find out what the latest is going on has been very refreshing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way. I've said Biden will unite the country by boring us to death. Biden will unite the country because there will be nothing about what he does that will be interesting. It's not going to be any massive scandals. Oh, yes, there is, Chad. Hunter Biden in China, blah, blah, blah. Settle down. there isn't going to be arguments and fights 24/7 that aren't about politics. I'm good with the political fights. I think most of us are. The reality TV got to be a bit much. Even people I know who love Trump said the exact same thing. At the end of the day, I understand why people voted against Trump, because the reality TV was too much, and the media has a lot to play into that, and they're finding out how hard it is to cover somebody who is boring.
It's compromise. Yet compromise also comes with complications for Biden. Angela Lang and her group, Black Leaders Organizing for Communities, helped push Biden over the finish line.
We elect people knowing that they're not going to be perfect, and that means that we have to hold them accountable.
She said she is patiently waiting for Biden to take steps to combat systemic racism.
I always get kind of skeptical and a little nervous when people say that they want to unite everyone and bring everyone together. Sometimes that means watering down progressive policies for the sake of unity.
And for Biden, that is the challenge.
And the sake of sanity. It's just unity and sanity. Some people look at this stuff, and some of the stuff that's out there is insane. But welcome to the new world. And compromise is compromise. You can't have 100% of everything you ask for. Our founding fathers didn't want it that. They set it up in such a way that it wouldn't be one party overrunning another party and destroying it and essentially installing themselves as kings and queens in fiefdoms where they control everything and from their high purchase in D.C. are able to tell everybody what to do, how to live. No. So compromise is a good thing. What's your must-haves and your wants? Totally different things. So we'll see what that looks like. But if you go back and you look at the best times in America when it comes to how we exploded, including the stock market, but also across the board over a long period of time when it came to the economy and several other things, it had to do with the fact that we had Republicans in charge in the House, or both the House and the Senate, and a Democratic president. Made them come to the table and actually work. It's different now because we have social media. Social media makes everything more complicated. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Speaking of social media, here he is, kids. All right, this guy is the cat lawyer. Do you remember him last week? I'm not a cat, the whole thing. He wants to get paid.
At first I was embarrassed, but by the time I realized that the thing had gone viral and it was already everywhere in the world, I got over it. It was like in Texas we have a saying, you can't put toothpaste back in the tube. Well, everything's changing. They're already selling T-shirts on the web and mugs and everything else. So we're going to try to catch up with that. I've already been getting people reaching out to me, wanting me to talk to groups about the problems on the new internet and Zoom meetings that we're having and professionalism and things of that nature. So I'll continue to do that too. Everything was going fine until the judge called the case, and suddenly you jump from the waiting room to the virtual courtroom. And when I moved to the virtual courtroom, I disappeared and a cat appeared. And I had no clue how and why. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Yep, history indeed. Ron Ponton right there. He is the cat lawyer. Now he wants to get paid. See, take the opportunity. He wants to sell hats and T-shirts and the whole nine. You strike while the iron is hot. He believes the iron's hot. You set up something. You sell the T-shirts. Maybe you sell 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000. All that kind of stuff makes people laugh. And if you could profit off it, beauty of America, baby. Woo! Make a mistake, turn it into cash. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter. Tweet, text. Love hearing from all of you. Oh, Wounded Paw Project. Man, I've been working with them for a while. And they work with veterans and first responders and their families. And they also work with dogs. And I try to tell people the dogs that they work with aren't just they go to a place where, there's a bunch of puppies. And I'm like, we'll rescue these puppies. We're going to take them to the shelter, and we're going to teach them how to be service dogs. They rescue dogs across shelters across the nation who would be euthanized. And some of them are nasty when they get them. Nasty. We're talking fighting dogs, bait dogs, dogs that are there and they want nothing to do with anybody else, and they've only known one life, and they change them as well as the people who get them. Find out how you can help. It is an amazing organization each and every day, training these animals and getting to our veterans, first responders, and families, helping them struggles with PTSD, with injuries, they've got limited mobility at times, and even family members who struggle with things like autism. These animals are truly changing lives. You can give in several different ways. You can go to smile.amazon.com, set your supporting group up to Wounded Paw Project. Give the gift of a vehicle, which is incredible. Great tax-deductible gift. And donating, again, amazing and easy. It will use all the funds to protect, advocate, transform these shelter dogs into service dogs for veterans, first responders, and their families. Go to woundedpawproject.org, woundedpawproject.org. Find out all the things you can. Check out the great work they're doing in your area. See how you can get involved. woundedpawproject.org. You'll be saving a paw to save a life. Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
This is the fight of our lives.
When Avengers Endgame opened in 2019, it set a worldwide opening weekend box office record many figured would stand for years, $357 million in North America. The first film to launch to over $300 million in any territory anywhere in the world. And a film you probably have never heard of just blew that away. Detective Chinatown 3 just opened in China to $397 million. Now the highest grossing single weekend ever. Even more surprising, the success of the comedy sequel comes during the pandemic, where the highest grossing film in North America, The Croods 2, a film that's been out for 3 months, barely broke $2 million.
That's nuts. I've seen the first Detective Chinatown. Whatever. It pales in comparison to what I saw this weekend. Let's let you guys know. Pales in comparison. But 3-day weekend in China. It's the year of the ox, by the way, for those of you going, what year is it again? It's the year of the ox. 398 million is what that thing brought in. That is, that's some change right there. That is some change. You wonder why people give in to the Chinese government? You wonder why people bow to that? It's things like that. That's they're competing for that dollar. They're competing for the dollar, and very few have the stones enough to say, no. Was it Tom Cruise there? It's a Taiwanese flag on his Maverick jacket, his flight jacket. They're like, take it off. And they're like, okay. Oh, my God. So, yeah, that's huge money, though. It's like $400 million. Here's the thing, too. That movie doesn't cost anything close to what it costs to produce all these other movies. Anything close. It's
Celebration derailed in an.
But it's not going to be big here. Even if we were wide open, probably wasn't going to be big. Where we'll have movies that'll do that, The Avengers, where you go and worldwide people are going to come see it. They haven't, even though they play a lot into to the world now, when it comes to, you go and they'll get 1 or 2 stars from America, but it still hasn't had that crossover feel. Twitter. All right, so I watched a movie this weekend. Everybody gather around. If you want a movie that is hilariously stupid, but also in just at these things, but enough. Why do we have them? Why can't you just say, you know what? We'll tell you guys when series out there called. It's called Five Nights at Freddy's. All right. So if you guys don't know what Five Nights at Freddy's is, it's a gaming series about. Imagine what would happen if all the animatronics of Chuck E. Cheese came alive. Imagine that. This is Willy's Wonder House. Times a bill. Where did you get a cannon? Who thought that was got a great idea? All of these animatronics are apparently possessed by all of these critters. Are possessed by serial killers and stuff. Oh, it is amazing, and the locals lure people there. That's kind of a sacrifice to leave them alone. Nicolas Cage doesn't say a word. He doesn't have to because he's got an Academy Award. Let's not forget that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet and text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Pumped. 4-day week. I kind of like that. Feels kind of good. It's weird. Yeah. It's like, is today Monday? Is it Tuesday? It feels kind of Wednesday.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Everybody from teachers to parents, obviously to students, we all want schools open and then critically to stay open. None of this, let's start it and close it, doesn't help anybody. Mitigation is hard to do. It's easy to say it. It's hard to do. This is too complicated. And it's really hard to make sure adequate ventilation is in place and testing is in place. It's just difficult. It requires resources and time. It's why I believe that maybe the quickest way actually to keeping schools open or opening schools and keeping them open, perhaps it's just vaccination of adult staff and educators up front so we can at least protect those who might be at highest risk.
Dr. Gupta, when do we get kids back in school? People want to know that. Kids need to go back in school. My son. So my son, he spent some time. He's 10 years old. He came out here and spent, a few days with me. He had a couple days off, get Friday off. So he came out here. We hung out. He'll be back out for spring break. It is, he has struggled. He spent a couple weeks with me here doing school, and he struggled. He's doing as best as he can at home there. He struggled. It is frustrating for kids across the board, but also parents. And when this thing first started, they started slowing down schools. They started saying that schools, we can, it can't, no, we'll shut it down, then we'll open up. I said, one thing you can't do, one thing you cannot do, one thing you can't do start, stop. And then we've done start, stop. Now it's like, all right, we've got to vaccinate every teacher instead of the kids, because the kids, they're testing on some children, but that won't be until next year, the fall, before they even think about. So right now, Moderna and Pfizer, those vaccines, one of them I think is 16 and above and the other's 18 and above. But it's always about the teachers because the unions are so powerful in many of these places. They have such a say. And they're not going to have any real chance, I think, for some of these cities and states across the country to get themselves back into school before next year. Maybe summer school for some. We'll see. Maybe that's how they'll do it. They'll roll it out in summer school. They'll do the last month at school. But this year's been lost.
You can have kids in classroom learning very safely, even before you have vaccination of staff and teachers. That gives me hope. You have to get the numbers down in communities, and those are moving in the right direction as well.
Yeah, they are moving in the right direction, big time. Dr. Besser there talking about the fact that, yes, things are finally starting to slow down. We're seeing the numbers drop.
In the United States alone, probably close to 100 million people have had this infection. And now you have close to 40 million people who've had at least one dose. Those numbers add up to a smaller proportion of people who are susceptible.
Translation. And he said 100 million. But when you look, it doesn't say 100 million. That's because there are most of the people that have gotten this are asymptomatic. Most of them are asymptomatic, meaning they felt nothing. Then there was some who thought, I have a cold. No, it turned out to be it. Wasn't anything big. So a majority. So you're looking at 100 million people, and then they've got 40 plus million people that have gotten the shot. So we're heading into 140 million people. We'll get there, and we're not going to get this thing under control, the coronavirus, for those of you not keeping score. We're not going to get this through vaccination alone. It just won't happen. It won't happen. And we don't know still how long the vaccinations are going to last. We don't know how long the immunity lasts when you have it. Get through it. Is it months? Is it years? Don't know. These are all things that we're going to find out along the way. But getting there just through vaccination isn't going to happen on its own. And we need to get kids back in there. And there's a reason for kids getting back in school, for us getting our lives back together. And this is so true. This is Dr. Atlas. I know he's evil and bad. He was on Fox. That guy's a bad guy. Talking about what's going on with children. And this is very true.
I'm wearing a mask behind all this plexiglass.
This is completely ludicrous, not with the science at all. It's almost insane. We in the United States are on the verge of creating an incredibly neurotic generation here. We have children, young children wearing masks, being separated, thinking that they're an infection vector for everyone and that everyone is a danger to them.
That's nuts, but true. It's so crazy. I mean, it is, and I see it around here. I see it around some of the people I work with who are like, they are double mask, triple mask. They're wearing, I mean, it's insane. I'm like, guys, we're with each other 12 hours a day. It's like, I don't know what to say at this point in time. And look, I'm not here to bust balls on people that are about masking. So that's not what I'm about. You know what? If you think that's it. But there comes a point where you've crossed the line and you're living in such total fear. And with kids, and I've done this with my little ones, I'm like, look, guys, the risk of you catching this thing and getting really sick is virtually nil. Well, anything can happen. You know, it's funny when you say, well, it can. Yeah, it can happen. And kids die from flu, but I don't hear you do, because if you die from this, somehow that's what? A more tragic death? My grandfather passed away a few months ago. When people found out he didn't die of COVID, they could give two craps. They don't care. Oh, but he died of COVID? No. And then on they went. They didn't. But if he would have died of COVID, it would have somehow been some sort of, And we're doing it now to our kids. We've been doing it for a while, between trophies and everybody's great drawing and report card goes on the refrigerator, to the minute they get a sniffles, put them on some sort of antibiotics or whatever you can. We've got a generation of kids who've overdone it, and it's getting worse.
I mean, this is really a tragedy here unfolding. This will go down as an epic failure of public policy and a real tragic situation here.
I think so. I think when we look back on it, the panic porn that was the news seized on an opportunity and ran with it. And from there, you had overreaching governors, you had powerful unions, and people that were just, it's nuts the way that they've attacked people who didn't mask the way that they liked them to, or didn't do any of the things that you were supposed to do, or you weren't careful enough, or how dare you go somewhere. And it's ridiculous. It really is. It is nuts the way that this thing played itself out in so many ways. And I still see it playing itself out. I still do. You'd be surprised that when people talk about, well, I don't really, I mask, but I try to wear my mask. Oh, well, wait till you get it, man. It's like, may have already had it. But they almost want to show you something. Like, well, wait till you get it. Well, I've already had it. And, well, I'm still here. Right? And that's funny because Dave Chappelle talked about this because he got it. He and several other large comics and stars have moved to Austin. They just had to get out of California. They were sick and tired of it. And he got it. And there were these people that just flipped out, were super stoked about it.
I talked to a guy and I said, when can we go back to work? He said, probably sometime in 2022. And I said, there's no way I can wait that long. And I just tried to find a way that I could work, endure this invasive test and wear these masks just so we could be out and hang out and be together. I tried. And after all these months, after doing all these shows, damn it, my number was up. And then I had the Rona. Oh.
It ain't over, though, kids. It ain't over. But he's so right about this.
Cowards rejoice at a time like this because they're so invested in being afraid. And when I said I had the coronavirus, the overwhelming majority of people wished me well. Said, we hope you get better. Take care of yourself. We don't want anything bad to happen to you. But there was a faction of people, the cowards, who said, you see that, Dave Chappelle? That's why we stay inside where it's safe. And we never try anything. Well, enjoy yourselves, because I'm better now.
Yeah. And he's right. I've had friends who were like, they saw Chappelle. They said, well, you knew it was going to happen. That's what you get. I'm like, for what? For living your life? I won't live in fear. I refuse to do it. I live in everything's a calculated risk. Even around here, I mask up because, well, you know what? The place asked me to mask up where I work. And I respect the people around here, so I'll do it. Go into a business, I'll wear my mask if they ask me to wear my mask. I respect the people. I don't know what the person's got going on next to me or any of that stuff. I got zero problems with that. But there comes a point in time, though, where there are so many people that are, as he said, invested in this fear. And it is crazy. And if you dare tell them anything, or show them anything else that goes against potentially some of that stuff, or just say, dude, I'm living my life and I'm being safe and that's just it. And, I take a calculated risk every day. They do. They almost want you to get it. They want you to get sick. And then if you've got it and you got through it and nothing really happened, it's almost like, wah. It's so sad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. And how dare you ask teachers to go back to school? That's the funny thing. How dare you? Don't you know those are teachers? Well, the lady that boxes my groceries, right? The guy that's got to do the deliveries. But they're not teachers. Oh, okay. Okay, I see. So the 22-year-old's working to put herself through school, who's working at the grocery store, doing everything there. They're not as important. I see. Idiots. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Golfed a lot. I was telling the boys this weekend, I golfed. So really working on my game because I got a goal that I'll roll out to you in the next couple weeks that I'm shooting for. Just for me, personal goals, things I like. But I take my Raycons everywhere when I golf. And this weekend, I did about 12 to 15 hours on the practice facility and course. Pitching, chipping, putting, hitting my irons. Rarely do I hit the driver, maybe 5 or 10 balls at a time. But no matter how hard I swing, no matter what I'm doing, my Raycons are there. 6 hours of talk time, seamless Bluetooth pairing, better sound quality, better design. But the thing that separates everything is the fit. And once you get that thing and you put in your ear, you got that little earbud, you put it in your ears, you hear the difference because of the fit. Normally you'd spend about $200-$300 on earbuds close to this. These, way better, way cheaper. Well under $100. Get yours now and save an extra 15%. BuyRaycon.com/Chad saves you an extra 15%. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's see what's trending around the interwebs. Take a look over at Twitter. Yeah, sad story. Former NFL wide receiver Vincent Jackson found dead in a hotel in Florida. No cause of death. Had over 9,000 yards. Spent time with both the Chargers and the Tampa Bay Bucks. Then the speculation begins. Was it suicide? Was he involved in something? Was it criminality? Was it CTE? Still, no cause of death at all has been talked about. It's just a sad, sad situation. Nancy Pelosi, trending because she wants an independent 9/11-style commission on the deadly Capitol riots. Of course, the winter storm that's crushing Texas and has caused advisories across the U.S. is, well, it's just crazy. When you see Dallas the way it is, you're like, are you kidding me? Yeah, it is nuts. Head on over to Google. Mardi Gras, trending big time. Of course, today, Fat Tuesday. Going to go out and eat all your fatty foods. Parler's relaunched. That's trending. They got a new CEO. I don't know what it's going to be like on there. Are they going to... I don't go there, so... I had an account. I think I tweeted, Happy Monday, and that was about it. And I was like, I can't be bothered. That's the way I kind of feel. Serena Williams moves into the semifinals, the Australian Open against Naomi Osaka. By the way, she's 39, and she's still a badass. She's still a badass in a major way. And Adam Kinzinger, you guys have not seen the letter. His family basically disowned him, talked about him, them being ashamed of him, embarrassed that he's got their name. How dare he hurt them? And my favorite is he disappointed so many and people lost respect for him, like Lou Dobbs and Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham and Sean Hannity. But most importantly, Mark Levin and Rush Limbaugh lost respect for him. They disowned him. My God, what the hell is wrong with you people? You just don't understand. I do understand. I do. No, you don't understand, Chad. It's not over.
The March 4th theory actually comes from sovereign citizen beliefs. Now, in the past, we haven't seen such a huge overlap, but in this case, QAnon, certain QAnon followers have borrowed whole cloth from a belief that the last legitimate president was the 18th president. So this goes back to 1871, and this is the belief that Trump will be actually inaugurated as our 19th president.
Yeah, so it's crazy, but they'll find something new to flip the switch to QAnon people. It's not over as far as they're concerned.
Now, of course, this is illogical since he was the 45th. But what they believe is that there has been no country known as the United States ever since it was unstuck from the gold standard. And they don't believe that any amendment past the 16th Amendment is valid. So they essentially believe that Ulysses S. Grant was the last valid American president. I think there's different beliefs, obviously, of what will happen on that day. Essentially, people are still in this belief that Trump will come back and will become the president again.
And then when that doesn't work out, they'll find something else. It's always fun, though, to learn. Right, kids? It's always fun to learn. I thought we had all these other presidents. Apparently we did not. Ulysses S. Grant. There's a huge gap between presidents. Let's talk a little travel. Straight ahead. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
What do you think of requiring a COVID test before someone flies, even domestically?
Well, there's an active conversation with the CDC right now. What I can tell you is it's going to be guided by data, by science, by medicine, and by the input of the people who are actually going to have to carry this out. But here's the thing. The safer we can make air travel in terms of perception as well as reality, the more people are going to be ready to get back in the air.
Pete Buttigieg right there Secretary of Transportation, joining us now. He's an author, he's a writer, he's an advocate, Christopher Elliot. We'll talk about this, Christopher, because you got a lot of great articles out there about air travel, safe, what's going to go on, how can we even move forward with this. Some people are like, we should never travel. But the reality is people want to travel. People want to get back out there. This industry has been absolutely destroyed. And the government's got they've got some things they maybe like to do and some things they might not do, even though they may want to. So first and foremost, are we all going to have to get tests before we get on an airplane?
It depends where you're flying to. Right now, you do have to have a negative PCR test taken within 3 days of your departure if you're coming back into the United States. And that's been in effect since late January. The discussion, though, is whether or not to extend that and make it a requirement for flying domestically, which means if you're flying anywhere in the U.S., you'd have to have a negative COVID test taken within 3 days.
So, and I was confused. I talked a bit about this last week to a buddy of mine who he likes to travel and he hasn't really traveled. So if I'm in Europe and the negative 3 days, which seems to be kind of weird. So by somebody that the doctors somebody at the airline wants me to take the test with, or can I take it anywhere? And do I have to quarantine of waiting in an airport, waiting in my hotel room before I fly back here? I think a lot of people want to know that about international travel, because I'm curious, like, how in God's name do I go from point A to point B where I take a test 3 days before and then I have to sit in a hotel room before I can get on the airplane, or can I still live my life before I get on the airplane?
I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage because your question cut out, but I think that you asked me about the quarantine requirement, so I'm going to answer that question. Yes, you have to have a test taken within 3 days, and if you somehow fail that test, you have to quarantine at your own expense. The government is not going to pay for you to stay in a hotel or anything like that. So that presents some logistical problems. I just finished a story, actually, about people and their Plan Bs. And the biggest Plan B, of course, is if you're flying back to the U.S., what if you can't pass the test? It's a huge thing. A lot of resorts are actually coming up with some really nifty offers. Some all-inclusives in Mexico say, if you don't pass the test, we'll take care of the quarantine. You can come stay with us. We've got a floor where you can stay until you get better.
That's awesome. Talking to Christopher Elliot. He is a writer. He's an advocate. He knows about travel. He's an author. So that stuff's very interesting because I know people like to travel. And for me, this industry has probably been the one that's been, outside of the restaurant industry, destroyed. But restaurants, I believe, will bounce back. What about the airline industry itself? Because I think they have a long, long road here. And I say this word, consolidation. I wouldn't be surprised if a few of them don't make it out of here alive and they get gobbled up.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's actually going to happen no matter what happens with these testing requirements. Now, Southwest Airlines commissioned a study, and it found that without any kind of testing requirements, domestic or international, traffic levels will be about at 78% by the end of the year, so almost back to normal. With international requirements, that goes down to around 70% traffic. So that actually, you can measurably see a decrease in demand. If they do domestic testing requirements, though, that drops back down to around 50%. And at those levels, some airlines will not be able to survive. Consolidation or mergers, whatever you want to call it, is definitely going to happen. Bankruptcies, insolvencies, also a possibility. We just don't know yet.
So let's just say, for the sake of argument, you say, all right, we're going to take it. We take our test. Our family's going to go on a trip. Who knows? They're just going to fly across the country, going to go to New York, visit family over there. What's the mask requirements? My big thing is, man, I don't want to be on an airplane for 3 or 4 or 5 hours wearing a mask. That would drive me absolutely batty. That's why I'm like, I'll wait till the end of this. So what are the requirements for masking up? What's the age range? If you're under X, do you still have to wear one?
Yeah, you have to wear a mask. And here's where it gets a little confusing. Airlines have their own policies, and then you have the federal requirements. There are some exceptions to those, but you have to be aware of what the federal requirements and the airline requirements are. There are some exceptions for younger passengers. So if you're, of course, that wouldn't apply to you, unfortunately, and passengers with disabilities. And you basically you have to have the mask on the entire flight, except when you're eating or drinking, and you can't do the whole I'm nursing a drink the entire flight, and so I can keep my mask off. That doesn't work. The flight attendants will stop you and make you put your mask back on.
Well, it's just crazy. It's just crazy. Christopher Elliott's his name. He is an author. He's an advocate. He's a journalist. Tell everybody where they can find all of your stuff, because your stuff is very interesting. And if you're going to travel, if you're thinking about traveling, this is the place to check it out, because you've got some great pieces out there.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, my nonprofit organization is called Elliot Advocacy. You can find that online at elliot.org. That's ELLIOTT.org. And if you have a problem with any company, not just a travel company, I have a team of advocates, and we like to help people. Our services are totally free. If you go to elliot.org/help, fill out that form, and we'll get right back to you.
Appreciate you coming on today, man. Thanks so very much.
No problem.
Thank you. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. I'm not taking a trip. Not for a while. I mean, if I can drive somewhere, I will. And we've had a couple things postponed, but there's nothing about this that intrigues me. And the 3 or 4 hours for a mask, if I absolutely had to, if it was a must, I could. But I won't even go to a movie, even though theaters are open. And I'm not going to go to a movie because I just know me. I'm going to pull on it. I'm going to tug on it. I've got my beard. It's going to drive me crazy. I just don't want any part of that. I don't. I'll wait. I will wait. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Before we went out to break, we were talking about the whole chaos and craziness. March 4th is going to be when Trump is going to rise again. That isn't going to happen. It's just not. But, we do need to figure out how we try to bridge a gap that right now is really, it's the extreme left and the extreme right. And they're both at each other's throat. And unfortunately, they're using us to try to choose sides when we don't want to. I don't buy into 90% of what you're saying over here. I don't buy into 90% of what you're saying over there. So I don't want to do that. And we need to come together in some way, shape, or form. And it can be an uneasy alliance, but it has to happen. We need to have it happen. And we need to start having real conversations. And I like conversations. So one of the reasons I like Bill Maher. Bill Maher has conversations. He brings people on, in particular people a lot of times who are on the other side of the aisle. And he has conversations with them. And they'll go in there. I have news for you. The left doesn't do that. The left doesn't come in to the lion's den, if you will, the way the right does. But he also brings people on from the left, and he holds their feet to the fire.
MSNBC has conservatives like you, but you're only invited to bring the part of you that is going to say something that the audience already agrees with. Would you agree with that, Steve?
Well,
you're not going to bring your conservative credentials.
I've sat on a lot of TV sets where you go to break and a lot of the reporters pick up their phone and they look at their Twitter feeds. And the invisible mob polices what's okay to say. And we have a profound problem, a crisis of cowardice in this country.
I agree.
That's Steve Schmidt. Now, he is part of the Lincoln Project. He's resigned because of all the chaos going on there. But their whole goal was to give power back to conservatives. And it's different because, you look at a Republican. Republican is not a conservative. Libertarian is not a conservative. A conservative, you go back and you look at Brinkley and a bunch of others, Bill Kristol, they're conservatives. Trump was never that. Trump was always Trump. But Bill Maher was right. You're allowed to come on there because you will say crap against somebody like Donald Trump, which they all agree with.
Okay, but isn't it also cowardice to not ever say anything on MSNBC that you really believe, except the things that are going to make that audience go, yes, great. I mean, I watched you and Michael Steele and Rick Wilson and Nicole Wallace for years. And you are sane conservatives. I didn't agree with a lot of what you said, but I appreciated that there was a dialogue. Now, you're not allowed to, you only can confirm the one true opinion.
And he's right. He's right. Absolutely 110%. You're allowed to come on here because I know that you can't stand this guy. Because you can't stand that guy, I'll give you a platform. But don't stray out of this.
The problem isn't partisanship. The problem is people that have given up on the truth. We can't even argue that the sky is blue anymore. That's the real problem.
But it is blue, right?
It is blue.
That's the point, right?
Yes.
And so I think we've seen 5 years of batshit insanity. I haven't been engaged in a policy discussion on American television since 2015, since he ran on any idea.
Actually, they're violet. We just see it at blue. That's how we perceive the light, just to let you know. If we're going to be obnoxious about it, you want to talk about the truth, just throwing it out there, letting you know. Much like, though, Adam Kinzinger got hammered, and Jeff Flake, who was the first real Republican to speak out, he didn't run for re-election, so he came out early in this. If you go look at their voting records, the words that came out of their mouth in front of the camera about how Trump acted compared to voting records were two different things. Trump was a reality show television star / back pages of the 80s and 90s Playboy / became that president that was all of those things at times still. And that's what got a lot of attention. That's what people paid attention to. Never paid attention to his actual policy or politics. None of that mattered when he tweeted something that offended somebody. And so for a lot of conservatives and people out there, it was him as a person, not his actual actions, that pissed people off.
Because they don't want to bring it up, you might say something that the audience does not agree with.
Because I think there are more existential issues.
There are, but it's not the only issue. They're on 24/7. Other things do come up if you want to bring them up. They don't want to bring them up. There's crazy going on the left. Would you not agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But you weren't allowed to talk about it. And the left has their troubles right now, especially in media, because they have nothing to attack. Trump is done. That thing's gone. Oh, there may be some civil lawsuits, and we're already seeing that. And there may be some other stuff down the road. But the reality is that stuff's done, and now the focus is you playing defense. And if it wasn't for the coronavirus, they'd have nothing to talk about. Do you think they're going to sit around all day, talk about, I don't know, Pete Buttigieg, the Secretary of Transportation? Probably not. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, AMAC, Association Mature American Citizens, fastest growing over 50 organization in the country. You could join at $16 for the year. Virtually nothing. A few pennies a day. What you get are great deals, discounts across the board on everything from life insurance to helping you find health insurance that you're over 50 and under 65, or helping you along the way when you're signing up for Social Security and Medicare, as well as travel, retail, restaurant, hotel discounts, and so much more. On top of that, they're out there fighting on your behalf for things like, you ready for this? First Amendment, Second Amendment. This is pretty important. Making sure that those things are there and protected. Join today. Go to amac.us/Chad, amac.us/Chad. Join them. Like I said, less than $20 for the year. Great benefits across the board. amac.us/Chad. It is the Chad Benson Show.
Darn, that climate change. Batten down the hatches. It's Topical Storm Chad, headed your way.
That was 7 summers ago. Morgan Wallen's Dangerous, the double album, had topped the Billboard 200 album chart for 3 weeks before he was caught on tape using the N-word. And now in the first full week since the controversy, he's #1 again. And he's done it without the help of radio airplay, which he lost in the wake of the controversy. And he was also pulled off of playlists for the major streaming services. His streaming was down over the last week, but sales of Wallen's albums were up, according to Billboard, 49%, showing that while the industry has put him on a timeout, his fans are still supporting him. Last week, Wallen issued a 5-minute video apology urging fans not to defend him.
Yeah, it's very interesting. They're going out there buying all of his albums, and you try to break down, like, why? Is it because they're like, oh yeah, this guy is totally a Klans member. You can tell by his mullet that he's a Klans member, so we got to support him. No, it's not that. It's not that. It's because people are sick and tired of the cancel culture, and they're just like, we like the guy. He made a mistake. We're going to move on with our lives. And I think we're getting closer and closer to that. And it was stupid. What he did was horrible. I don't know the guy. Neither do you. Maybe in his heart, he really is, the second coming of David Duke. Or maybe he was drunk, trying to be funny, said something stupid, and it's cost him. But people are still showing up. They're still buying. They're still going out there. And then the next question that is going to come is, when will another company or his company say, all right, we're going to get you back out there. You can do your mea culpas, go out there and I'm sorry. You're going to go out and you're going to be contrite. You're going to do your stuff. We're going to get you on stage. We're going to get you in front of Barbara Walters or whoever the new equivalent is. Like I said, be Oprah or whoever we possibly can to talk about this. We're going to get you do that, and we're going to get you back out there playing again, and we're going to get you. But you need somebody to come forward and take that step. Now, it's not going to be tomorrow. But it will be, I think, sooner rather than later. If it's real, if he's contrite in the way that he apologizes and it comes from the heart and that's real. Again, I don't know what's in any man's heart. Neither do you. So we'll see. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Check out Chad Benson Show TV on the old YouTube and Facebook as well. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Milwaukee's Pabst Theater hasn't seen a live event since last March when the pandemic closed it. It's reopening for President Biden, who's holding a live CNN town hall where he'll take questions from Republicans, Democrats, and independent voters on his COVID and economic relief plans. The goal? Put more pressure on congressional Republicans to support bills that he may be able to pass without them.
Now, will he or won't he be able to pass them without him? Well, I think in some ways he'll be able to get stuff through. One of the big ways that he probably is going to upset the progressives is the fact that minimum wage, that $15 an hour, they could fight for it, but they're probably not getting it.
Most Democrats and President Biden want it. Most Republicans don't, which is why raising the minimum wage is on thin ice in the next COVID bill. President Biden last week admitted his $15 an hour minimum may be removed to get 51 votes needed to pass COVID relief under budget reconciliation. At least two Democratic senators, Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, saying it would hurt small businesses and they'd vote no.
Yeah, so... And when all of the chaos and craziness after the election, and then you had the run up, and I said, even though they've lost those two seats in in Georgia, that was them. They failed, in particular, Trump. I said there are two senators that you must watch out for. Joe Manchin, very red state. He's a blue senator. He's center left. Kirsten Sinema, very much at one time, was uber progressive. And unlike some of the people out there who I think use the progressivism to boost their celebrity, the AOCs of the world, she was really that. But over the last several years, she's become very much a independent thinker which I absolutely applaud. And I said those two, and maybe Kelly, who's the latest senator from Arizona, have a potential of being a thorn in the side of the left. And that's very real. So it'll be interesting. But he's going to answer questions tonight about things like schools, about things like when is the stimulus going to get done. There'll probably be some Trump questions about, do you feel like now that it's over, that you feel like you can take a breath and move forward? So there's going to be a lot of things. And COVID, though, will be top of the mind because that's what's out there. The good news about COVID is, and there is good news, slowly but surely, numbers.
It's nice to be talking about such a drastic drop in cases. What do you attribute it to? I know there's some debate over that. Is this the vaccine? Is this seasonality? Is this less testing? Why are we seeing this drop?
First of all, I think this drop is real, meaning it's not just an artifact of testing. Infections are clearly down a good 50, 60%. Hospitalizations are down. Death numbers haven't moved that much yet, but I expect them to in the next couple of weeks. And that, of course, is going to be good news.
Yeah. Dr. Jha right there. That is going to be good news. And there's a lot that goes into this. One of the things that if you're any kind of reader or studying of anything and you want to go out there, everybody who is honest about where we are with this thing and how we're going to get to where we're going to get to, which is herd immunity, will tell you it isn't going to happen through vaccines alone.
I think some of it is coming off of the highs from the holidays. Second is I think there's some evidence that people are being a bit more assiduous about mask wearing and social distancing. And then, I do think in the next couple of weeks, the effects of the vaccinations are going to start having an impact. I don't know that we're quite there yet in terms of seeing the benefits of vaccines on national infection numbers yet.
Probably not. And that's because there's probably about 100 million people that have been infected with this at some time or another. So if you throw that in with the 40 to 50 million people that have been vaccinated, some of them have gotten 2 vaccinations, some of them only have 1. But you put that all together, and what do you have? You have us getting close to a point where not quite herd immunity, but it's enough to slow it down. It's enough that in places where people would catch it, they're not catching it because people have had the shot or they've been exposed to it, have a T-cell immunity, or they actually have immunity because they've had it. Maybe they were asymptomatic, didn't even know they had it. And it slows it down. And all of this matters because for us to get back to where we need to get back to, we need to do what? Get our butts back to the point where our kids are in school. We feel like we can get back out there, get our work on again, where there is no limitations. There is no governor, if you will. There's no governor on what we can do. We can go as fast as we want or as slow as we want. We need that, but one of the first steps starts with school.
Everybody, from teachers to parents, obviously to students, we all want schools open and then critically to stay open. None of this, let's start it and close it, start and close it. That doesn't help anybody. Mitigation is hard to do. It's easy to say it. It's hard to do. This is too complicated. And it's really hard to make sure adequate ventilation is in place and testing is in place. It's just difficult. It requires resources and time. It's why I believe that maybe the quickest way actually to keeping schools open or opening schools and keeping them open, perhaps it's just vaccination of adult staff and educators up front so we can at least protect those who might be at highest risk.
Yeah. But it's getting kids back. When this thing first started, I said, we can't have the start-stop. We can't have the start-stop. We can't get kids going to school on a Monday, and then by Wednesday they're closed down again. We can't get to the point where you're on vacation for Christmas, and then they come back and they say, guess what? We decided we're not going to be doing this anymore for the next several weeks. You can't do that. You can't. We need to get back out there. Because as the kids go, so goes mom and dad. As mom and dad get back out there, so goes the business because they feel like they can get out there and start working. They feel like they can get out there and start pushing it forward. They don't have to worry about, hey, you're going to have to take tomorrow off, and then I'll take Thursday off, and then you take Friday off, and then we'll figure it out on Monday. You don't have to do that stuff. And for women who have been in the workforce in mass numbers, let's not forget, right now, they outdo men as far as numbers in the workforce. Think about this. They estimate 4 million mostly women. They're calling this the she session instead of a recession, she session, because they're the ones who are stopping to take care of the kids. So we need to get back. And schools are a huge barometer to me of how we're doing. Because I think once we get back to that point, and I don't expect that in full, you may get some states that have it a little bit quicker. You may get some states that across the board, not just cities, but states that get back this year in earnest, in full. But I'm looking towards next August when school reopens across the country, that's when you go, all right, it's game time. Across the summer, you may see some summer schools. Maybe. You may see some kids and some schools across the country for the last month or two that will be back in school with mitigation still the most important thing. But I'm telling you, that is big. And by June, everybody should have access. By July, the people that are going to get shots, who are going to get this, should have already had the chance and done it. And then it should be, okay, it's time for us to get back out there. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Over the weekend, obviously, in the not-so-shocked world, Trump was acquitted. Some scathing words from Mitch McConnell, backed it up in an op-ed piece.
In a Wall Street Journal op-ed, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell writes, "There's no question former President Trump bears moral responsibility for the January 6th Capitol attack." But echoing his comments after the Senate vote to acquit Trump, McConnell writes, "Our job was to defend the Constitution and respect its limits. That is what our acquittal delivered." McConnell and many Senate Republicans insisted the trial was unconstitutional because Trump is no longer in office.
Yeah, it was everything we thought it was going to be. There was no, like, oh, my God, did you see? No, there was nothing. There was nothing there that was going to change really anybody's mind. This wasn't about Trump. For the left, it was. For the right, it was about defending the badge. For the right, it was about defending your job. For the right, it was about making sure that the powers that be that may have a chance to influence me losing my seat don't get any ideas, because I followed the things I was supposed to follow, and that's what this was about. Let's defend the badge. Let's defend the things that need to be defended. For us, you're not attacking Donald Trump. You're attacking the Republican Party. And that's the way many of them rolled it out there in their mind and voted the way they did. Do I think we needed to have a second one? Like I said, if this would have happened December 1st, I think you would have saw a much different thing. He's gone. This felt like yet another one of those things where, well, we're going to do, look, investigate, do all those things. In a court of law, you were never getting a conviction. In a court of law. This guy's speech made me do these things. You weren't. You weren't. So did I think it was a waste of time? There's a time and a place for everything. The place was the right place, but the time really wasn't, if that's what you guys wanted to do. And now they're going to have civil suits and a bunch of other stuff. So this is going to be a situation that they're going to do everything they can to make sure that Trump's still out there. Like, look at, there's Trump. There's Trump. Oh, my God, there he is. He's still doing stuff. But when all is said and done, we knew what was going to happen, and it happened. Now it's time to move on. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Home title lock. We had an article last week. Washington Post, actually. About a woman, her husband, and their children. They bought a house. Nice Craftsman-style home. And little did they know that somebody had stolen their title. And lo and behold, they're in court, fighting it still to this day, a few years on, trying to regain possession of a home. And it's frustrating. It's costing them thousands upon thousands of dollars. And this happens more often than people realize. And with cyber fraud, the way it is, it's easier to do and more profitable than stealing a car. All they have to do is go online, find your address, your name, just do a random bunch of checks. They line them up with all the public information, your title being out there, and they forge everything, sign it over themselves, and they move in, or better yet, they take out a bunch of loans. By the time you figure that out, it's too late. Protect yourself with Home Title Lock. Home Title Lock will alert you to anything that's happening with your title at all. One little thing changes, they will alert you. And should somebody get by, they're going to give you $250,000 to help you fight it in court. That's what they do. Protect yourself, protect your home with Home Title Lock. Go to HomeTitleLock.com, register your address, see if you've been a victim. Use code radio for 30 days free protection. HomeTitleLock.com, code radio, HomeTitleLock.com.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
Former President Trump conspired with the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers, the new lawsuit said, to violate the Ku Klux Klan Act, which prohibits any action designed to prevent Congress from carrying out its duties. The lawsuit, filed by the NAACP, called the January 6th insurrection a carefully orchestrated plan by Trump, Giuliani, and the extremist groups to stop the certification of the Electoral College. The lawsuit sought unspecified damages, using financial penalties to try and hold the former president accountable and expose the networks and fundings of the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers.
Well, the Proud Boys look like they're already done once they found out their former leader was an FBI informant. Remember how the Proud Boys started? The Proud Boys started as a bunch of guys who got together because a guy named Gavin McInnes, who was the co-founder of Vice, and it was kind of a joke. And then it became something else, and it went from there. And then it was supposed to be over the top machismo, over the top Western male masculinity, over the top of, yes, the West is better than other places, over the top kind of pop culture and all this. And then it became something else. The Oath Keepers, I don't know what they're about. I know there's few of them wanted by the FBI, but it goes back to that simple thing. Show me the phone calls where Trump called them. Show me the text messages and the emails. Show me all of those things, and then you can have a real conversation. I don't think we'll get those. Did he play way too close, and a lot of people around him way too close with some of these groups? Absolutely. Has it come back to bite them in the ass? 100%. But at the end of the day, and there's going to be plenty of these, so be prepared. And for the media, it's great. They're going to still talk about Trump. Me, I want to talk about what in God's name is going on. Why is everything so cold?
What happens in a warming climate, is that Arctic air gets trapped, you could say, and it will burst out. It will come down, and it can happen in longer periods of time, which is exactly what we're seeing right now. So in general, it is warmer than the polar blasts of the past, but by a degree or two. So even though it's not 60 below, it's 58 below. That is still warming.
Yeah, that is still warming. And because of that, you've got Texas, who's going to be freezing for the next few days. And then they got another blast coming through. I mean, it's like zero. It's like, I got friends there, and they're like, I just, no, can't do anything. You got power outages. You've got people struggling to keep their, the heat and all that stuff. They're not used to this. They're not. This is something that's totally new. I mean, they're used to a cold blast every once in a while, and I've been there. Lived in San Antonio for a while, and we got a couple cold fronts. We got some snow, some dusting of snow. It was really neat. But this, it was gone within a day. Woke up the next day, it was gone. Not this time. And now you got that throughout the southeast, minus Florida, and the Northeast is going to get a nice blast as well. And then the Midwest is cold. Just let you guys know, I think it's going to be 70 here today in Arizona. Just throwing it out there in case you guys. So when you make fun of us when it's 115 in the summer, just realize it's 70 today. Just throwing that out there. Chad Benson Show.
Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Well, well, well. Let the games begin because Claudia just tried out for American Idol.
Kellyanne Conway's teenage daughter, Claudia Conway, is letting her voice be heard. Claudia recently auditioned for the 18th season of American Idol.
Hey guys, I'm here at American Idol Confessional. I have my audition soon, so stay tuned for that. Very, very nervous, but very excited.
Yeah, that Claudia Conway, whose mom is Kellyanne and whose dad, George, hates Trump, and that weird, wacky, weird relationship. Just, it's, people are hammering American Idol. How dare you do that? Well, first of all, she's a young girl. She wants to do something. Like, what is she supposed to do? A lie? My name's Batman. Can't tell you my real name. Can't tell it to you. Are they going to use it? Of course they're going to use it, for God's sakes. Welcome to the world of entertainment. Her mom worked with a guy who was a reality TV show host. Of course. It's going to be a part of it. I mean, you know, she's accused them of stuff. It's nuts. Let's be real. I think it's a well family. I think it's a healthy, it's the kind of family you're like, you know what, Dr. Phil, legitimate things when it came to this last election that we should have serious questions about.
I'm really, really nervous.
Oh, you should be nervous, honey. It's a very humbling experience.
Ask some questions about
Having the opportunity to audition for American Idol, this is your time to shine. But remember, honey, winners are people who are willing to lose.
With your mom being the figure that she is, do you still, does she still hug you?
I mean, yeah, she loves me. I love her. It's just, I feel like our relationship's a little iffy.
It's a little iffy. Of course it is. Because you're 16. Everybody had that little iffy part in their lives. The difference is, so when you and I were younger, we fought with our parents for whatever reason. You tell a friend here or tell a friend there, you know, that maybe knew your mom and dad. You're like, you know, my dad's being a jerk or my mom this. Whatever. Now it is totally different because you could tell the world. And when you're somebody like her who, because of her name and the platform she has and her mother and father have, there were opportunities for her to expand in a base that was so much larger. So everything that happened that she got pissed about, and everybody runs and they tell the internet something, like the internet's going to solve your problems, and we all know that's not true, that just became exacerbated, and then it became more and more controversial. But yeah, American Idol ran with it.
Are you okay?
No.
No.
No, but yes.
Yes and no.
I made it. I'm going to Hollywood.
Yes. You're going to Hollywood. What's wrong with you? We love you so much, sweetheart. We're really proud of you. Love you.
I love you. Mwah.
Yeah. It's crazy. But are they exploiting? It's a business. She wants to be in that business. You don't go in front of a camera if you don't, and you can't accept the fact that people are going to say things about you. You don't do that stuff. Even at that young of an age, people understand what they're trying to get themselves into it. And mom and dad gave her a roadmap to insanity and chaos and craziness that she accepts. So I have no problem with what American Idol did. What are they supposed to do? Hey, you know what? Because let's throw it on the other side. We don't want you here because your mom worked for that guy. So we don't want you here. Your mom worked for that guy, so we don't want any part of what you have to offer. That would have been insane. And that would have been the other way. It's nuts. I don't think she's going to go far, but she's going to Hollywood. Ride that for as long as you can. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every one of you. So, last week, Gina Carrero got let go by Disney and Lucas and all that because she tweeted stuff. And one of the things that they claimed that was so abhorrent was the fact that she was an anti-masker or poked fun at people who masked up. And that's okay. No, it's not. Oh, it's not? No. Oh, no. Oh, no. You can't do that? Oh, you could do the other way, where you can make fun of people who are, anti-maskers? Yeah, you could do that.
The grocery store, the grocery store. Welcome to our grocery store. Before you walk in through the door, there's a rule you can't ignore. So here's the question I must ask. Will you please put on a mask? Will you wear a mask, I ask? I won't wear one, since you ask. I won't put on a facial mask. Why is that? You feel harassed? Why won't you wear a facial mask? I have reasons, you will see. Special reasons, just for me.
All right, that right there is Mark Hamill. So, Gina Carrero canned over, supporting Trump and thinking the election had some issues, was stolen. And then, of course, the anti-masker, and then she made fun of how she identified herself, because people could say, how do you identify yourself? And she said, beep, bop, boop, instead of, he, she, they, them, whatever you're supposed to do. I'm confused now. Who's picking up? I'm an ampersand. I don't think that's real. So, but one of them was the fact that she made fun of maskers, right? So you've got Mark Hamill. Remember who he is? Luke Skywalker? Okay. So he's doing what? Well, he's doing a little bit of Dr. Seuss, making fun of people who are anti-mask.
This COVID virus is a hoax, except for sickly older folks. I'm immune. I read on Reddit. I'm healthy, so I just can't get it. Maybe so, but we require that all must wear face mask attire. I won't do it. You can't make me. This is a nightmare. Someone wake me. In what places, let me ask, will you ever wear a mask? Will you wear one on the street? At restaurants where people eat? I can't eat with a mask in place. I won't wear one on my face.
That's okay. Again, all of that is okay, as long as you're doing it for the right. That's where people on the right get frustrated. You're doing it for the right reasons. You're making fun of people who believe that masking is stupid. You can do that. If you make fun of people who think that masking, anti-masking. So, hey, I'm looking at you and I'm saying, I think that you're overdone, right? I think you're freaking out and I think that it's too much. Oh, you're an evil person. You, though, can look at somebody and make fun of them for anti-masking or for having whatever reasons there are. And you're a hero. You're cheered. That's great.
Let me in or I will sue. But what if you have the corona flu? Then I'll go see a real physician. And maybe then a good mortician who will perform his somber task and wonder why you wear no mask.
Yeah. And that is so ridiculous. Case in point, Dave Chappelle. We talked about it earlier. He's got his new stand-up out and talked about getting COVID because he went to Austin and he and Joe Rogan and a few others, and they've got a comedy club out there and they're doing stuff. And it's so funny because that right there is a perfect example of people who are, let's live in this fear world. It's not about that. It's respect. I wear a mask when I go places because I respect the people and they've asked me to do it. But I won't live in fear. You're not going to come tell me to wear one on the golf course. You're not going to come tell me to wear one when I'm in my car or when I'm at the park by myself or when I'm going to walk with my kids or what. No. But that thing at the end, that smarmy little thing where, you're going to go to the mortician if you don't wear a mask is a bunch of crap.
I talked to a guy and I said, when can we go back to work? He said, probably sometime in 2022. And I said, there's no way I can wait that long. And I just tried to find a way that I could work, endure this invasive test and wear these masks just so we could be out and hang out and be together. I tried. And after all these months, after doing all these shows, damn it, my number was up. And then I had the Rona. Oh.
Remember, Gina Carrero fired. Luke Skywalker Can't talk about you going to mortician as if you wear a mask, you're guaranteed not to go to the mortician because you've solved death. But he was almost excited about that, like the ha-ha, you didn't wear a mask. Dave Chappelle, people were laughing and cheering the fact that he pushed back and didn't want to wear a mask, and then he got it. So ha-ha-ha.
Cowards rejoice at a time like this because they're so invested in being afraid. And when I said I had the coronavirus, the overwhelming majority of people wished me well. Said, we hope you get better. Take care of yourself. We don't want anything bad to happen to you. But there was a faction of people, the cowards, who said, you see that, Dave Chappelle? That's why we stay inside where it's safe. And we never try anything. Well, enjoy yourselves, because I'm better now.
So one, you can make fun of. And I wouldn't make fun of either. If you want to wear a mask, great. By the way, if you want to wear a mask 6 months from now and we've got none of this, knock yourself out. If you want to wear a hazmat suit, I don't care. But we turned something extremely political. And we shouldn't. And I think we wouldn't have had the politics of the mask had we been allowed to stay open and social distance. But instead what we got was a bunch of government nonsense and hooey that changed every 5, 6, 7 days, sometimes every 5 or 6, 7 hours. We had from one mask now to 2 masks, from flattening the curve to, oh my God, we all got to stay indoors, to our kids not going back to school till God knows when, to normal not coming to 2022, to how dare you even question anything that the CDC or the World Health Organization say, even though they've been wrong more often than they've been right. And so, yeah, I get why people question and push back. And by the way, those people out there who all want everybody to wear masks, social distance, never do anything, or as Dave likes to call them, some of those cowardly people, you need other people out there to fight to make sure that there is an overreach, because you've seen what's happened in states where there's overreach, and it sucks. It does. Have some of these people done it the wrong way? Yes. Very much so. You can have respect, but respect should go both ways. I respect the fact that you don't want to wear a mask. Guess what? I'm responsible for me, so if I'm worried about it, I'm not going to get too close to you. And if you can respect that, well, good. It's really about respect. But when you can make fun of people who are anti-maskers and make fun of the fact that they may go to a mortician and nothing happens to you, it shows you why people get sick and tired of the Hollywood BS and the nonsense that goes on there and the push that comes from the left, where it never gets pushed back in a way that's real by the right. Remember, and I say this all the time to my buddies who work in Hollywood, and I have a ton of friends who work in Hollywood and some in very high places, the middle of the country, the flyover country, the conservatives, their money's good too. And eventually, they're going to find other places to put your money. And you insulting them isn't going to bring them back. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program Raycon. Best earbuds around. I got mine in the car. I'm going to go hit some golf balls. As I tend to do, I try to get out on the range, whether it's in the middle of the day or the evening. Try to play as much as I possibly can and try to work out. I have my earbuds in, and those are the Raycons. E25 is amazing. Best ones around. 6 hours of talk time, seamless Bluetooth pairing, better sound quality, better design. Overall, you will find nothing anywhere comparable to this, especially for the price point. The noise isolating fit separates the Raycon from everybody else. And the price point, well, just take a look. You'll spend $200-300 for something that's going to give you stems and wires. You're going to have to push them back in all the time. They're going to get in the way. You won't have that with these. And they cost well under $100. Get your Raycons now. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. Check it out. Try it for yourself. You got a money back guarantee. If you don't like it, send it back. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Starts well under $100 for the best earbuds around. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
Amy Cooper was walking her dog in Central Park last May when a bird watcher named Christian Cooper
can attack your wages, savings, pension.
To assault her. Prosecutors said using the police in a way that was both racially offensive, charge of making a false report, and participate in a program that prosecutors said was meant to educate her and the community.
Yeah, they dropped all charges. She did the therapy. You guys remember that? This was it was about a year ago. Here comes coronavirus. But right before that, because people were wearing masks, this really took this was a story for a couple days, and people were looking, and they're like, oh my God, and look at she's evil. You had de Blasio, is just the biggest idiot in the world, come out, and he's like, there's no place for that here, and just hammered her. And the guy, Christian Cooper, he's like, I'm not going to pile on top of her. She lost her job. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to get into the world of cancel culture. I don't want that. We should have a conversation. And didn't want any part of that. And he declined to press charges. So she went, did therapy, and we move on. But it's crazy. I mean, you think about this, and we've talked about it. You are one word, one mistake away from being in trouble. What she did was stupid. It was. It was absolutely stupid. Why she did it? Again, I don't know. I don't know what took place there, but she saw a black guy, she got scared, and there it was. But did she need to lose everything? And it's not just, as we talked about, the masking or no masking. I mean, right now, if you're a conservative in a place like Hollywood, there's a great article in New York Magazine talking about this is the new McCarthyism. They're not looking for the Reds anymore. The Reds are welcome. It's communist, for those of you guys who don't know. If you're a commie, you're welcome with open arms. If you're a conservative, oh my God. If you believe in freedom and liberty, you better run for the hills. How dare you have any kind of opposing viewpoint? This lady she didn't deserve to lose everything. And I think that's where we're in a world now where, and I've said this for a long time, and I'll continue to say it over and over again. So many people are into punishment more than conversation and trying to get through a situation. Whether it's somebody who is a star or somebody who tweeted something 10 years ago or somebody who, they're into punishing. People who weren't involved in something, who didn't get hurt by something, want to see people get punished because somehow that makes them feel better. And I find that ridiculous. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Chad Benson Show TV, that's your YouTube. And check out Facebook as well. You guys have a blessed day. So great. My Monday was a Tuesday. I like that. So you know what that means. Oh, yeah, baby. Get yourself some tacos and make them delicious. We'll do it again tomorrow. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.